Hello everybody, and welcome back to Space Engine. Always fun. What's that? That is a globular cluster. It's an open cluster. Let's go there, because why not? Well, it's been kind of an exciting weekend. Tiangong 1 crashed in the Pacific, which was always nice. It's actually kind of interesting, because nobody quite knew where it was going to end up, and they were afraid it was going to, sprawl debris over important places. Kind of like when Skylab burned up. There was a bit of a miscalculation in where it would land, and bits of it actually did rain down in Australia. Didn't hurt anybody or break anything, but NASA did receive a littering ticket because of it, which is, I think, still unpaid. Come on, NASA. But no, it crashed in the South Pacific, actually really close to the graveyard of space debris, so it actually went better than expected. I was kind of hoping there would be, like, someone to film it, like it would burn up over land somewhere. But alas, that did not happen. I'm trying to... One second, I need to try to copy-paste this into... There we go. Yeah, I need to reinstall this and fix it. Boom. Apparently this is quite pretty, and it most certainly is. Kind of reminds me of pizza. But a lot of things remind me of pizza, because pizza's pretty great. Actually, I have some fries in the oven right now. But they will probably be done about 5 minutes after I'm done recording, so, hey, win-win. Yeah, this is quite the star. Oh, it's a carbon star. And you can see the large convection currents in there. That's quite pretty. What kind of planets are we looking at here? A hot oceana. That sounds like a steam bath. Let's go. Yeah, it's kind of a color. Mostly carbon dioxide atmosphere, though. Whoosh. Wow. Actually, I wonder how bright the star, like how far we have to get away from the star before it starts looking bright. Oh, okay. Well, I guess it's a carbon star, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, so Tiangong burned up, which is fun. SpaceX launched another resupply mission to the space station, I think today, which is nice. I actually watched the Iridium launch, like the Iridium 5 launch. Well, actually, they were launching 10 satellites, but I watched that one because I actually like the Iridium constellation. As you know, I go out and I look at the Iridium flares fairly often. And the thing about the Iridium flares is the new Iridium constellation, Iridium Next, they're a different design, and I think they're a little bit closer to the ground, or like a little lower in altitude. So it's not quite known how bright or how reflective they're going to be. So the Iridium Next constellations may have smaller Iridium flares, if any, in the future. So in like 30, 40 years, as the original Iridium satellites start to decay and go away, Iridium flares might become less common, which is kind of sad because they're currently really fun to watch, like these really bright, just whoosh overhead. I posted a couple videos. No, I posted one video of an Iridium flare, and a video of the space station, and I have a bunch of Iridium flares recorded. They don't look terribly great, but I might string them together into a video in the future. Yeah. I love watching Iridium flares personally, it's really cool. And the space station is actually really fun to watch. Like when it's coming overhead, it's actually very bright. I'm not finding anything of any real interest to go to, which is unfortunate. Where even am I? Is this the Milky Way? No, this is a random galaxy. Alright. I'm lost in space. Da, 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 da. Oh, actually, I'm looking forward to the new Lost in Space TV show. I remember a little while ago I was talking about that, how, like, I hate remakes, reboots, prequels, and all that crap, but, for whatever reason, Lost in Space was one show that I kind of was really hoping they would, like, bring back, because it was a dumb show, but it was fun. The premise was good anyways, and I personally loved the movie, like, the remake movie, and there was actually a pilot for a remake that was directed by, John Woo. He did Broken Arrow, great movie. Oh, I see that. And I watched the trailer, or I watched the pilot, and it was actually really good. I kind of wished they'd continued with it, but they didn't. But alas, we're now getting a Lost in Space remake. So yeah. Hey. Oh. Go away. There we go. This is kind of an eyeball planet. This is when you have a tidally locked planet where one side is frozen all the time, the other side is usually liquid, but usually it's really hot, and you get like a band around the edges that's more temperate, but in this case, you just have a very, yeah, it looks like an eyeball, so hence the name, but it has a huge weather system on the one side, probably a lot of winds. There's actually an idea with planets like this that if there's enough atmospheric convection, you might get warm enough heat transferred to the night side, where you actually get a fairly temperate night side and a very inhospitable day side. But we'll have to go and find more planets to clarify these things. I would like information on this here planet. There we go. It is marine, abiogenic, organic, unicellular. Lovely. Atmosphere. How thick is the atmosphere? Atmospheric pressure, there we go. It's about half ours. Alright. And it's mostly carbon dioxide, a bit of oxygen, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen, water. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Oh, there's the ammonia. Always gotta look for the ammonia. Well, it's a nice planet. Kind of has an elu thing going on. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to when they add more diversity to the planets, because I want to see more exciting planets. Even though there's a lot of diversity already, but I need more excitement. The universe is great. I love it. Oh man, I went out to move a pile of wood in my backyard today, because there was bees living under there last summer. And I didn't know if they were carpenter bees or honeybees, so I actually got my camera out and I was recording it. And yeah, no bees. Nothing of interest. I can't really make a video of it because nothing interesting happened. There was no hive, but there was a lot of like sawdust and ripped up wood, so I suspect they were carpenter bees. And a dead mouse, which was kind of sad. But yeah, no. So it was actually very underwhelming. I was expecting more, but no. At least there was, snow outside, so that was fun. Yay, Canada. Where to go now? Actually, it's kind of interesting, the snow outside. It's been kind of bouncing back and forth between cold, warm, snow, freezing, mist, warm. So the snow has like this styrofoam consistency. It's really weird. But yeah, that's been my day. Actually, I've also been I started submitting short stories to publishers. So, well, a publisher. So that could be fun. Oh, and I also submitted my game, the first build, to Humble Bundle to see if I can get it on there, because I can do that for free. Whereas Steam, you need a $100 deposit, which I don't have, so I can't do. But I'm hoping in the future I can probably do that. I don't know. It's mostly for fun, but we'll see what happens with it. What else to talk about? I don't know, usual fun stuff. Science, technology, space. My cat's currently sound asleep next to me. He's being a good boy. Yeah. I was actually talking to somebody about the legal systems today. Because, I always like interesting topics, and the legal systems actually are interesting. But, there's actually a flaw with quite a few of them. Specifically looking at, Western cultures, of which I am a part. The legal systems, they could use some updating and some fixing, honestly. Because, one thing I've noticed is, kind of like some governments, not naming names, but you know which country I'm specifically talking about, money has, corrupted the institution. And with the, legal system, same things happen. It's kind of dumb. Alright, we have another Oceania. This one's warmer and more interesting. Well, I wouldn't say more interesting, but it's warmer anyways. It is air pressure. Holy, it has a thick atmosphere. Alright. Mostly carbon dioxide, so it probably has quite the, how far away is it from the star? Huh. Oh, no. Let's check something. Go away. No, Good God. So it has. All right. So it's still in the warm zone, kind of on the cooler edge, but because of its thick CO2 rich atmosphere, it's greenhouse effect. Oh, look, little storm. How cute. Anyways, back onto Aurora legal systems. My biggest, I guess I could say, complaint is actually lawyers, and maybe not so much the lawyers themselves, but what the institutions become. Because like you think about it, in a lot of countries, mine included, the law is represented by a symbol of a person with a blindfold holding a scale, and it's supposed to represent the unbiased, like, basically it's supposed to mean like the law is blind and unbiased, which in a lot of cases it is, but not always. And the one that I always look at is lawyers, really, because an example I see all the time is you'll have two people, all right, and they both commit the exact same crime. I don't know what, they'll just say the exact same crime. Person A doesn't have money and cannot afford a lawyer. Person B has lots of money and can afford multiple lawyers. Now, both go and they get their verdicts and all that, and person A gets 6 years in prison, whereas person B gets, like, 2 months in prison and a year probation for the exact same offense. Now, that's not fair, but the reason why person B gets off easy is because they have money, and they can afford lawyers, and lawyers are basically, in a lot of cases, can be get-out-of-jail-free cards, if you have the right one. If you can afford an expensive one, then you can pretty much get away with anything. Like that affluent teen who killed 4 people, and then, like, violated probation, but is still, getting slaps on the wrist because, oh, he didn't know better. It's like, no, the law shouldn't care. The law should be unbiased to socioeconomics. So I was thinking about that, and it's like, lawyers, honestly, I'm not saying get rid of lawyers, but the institution of what a lawyer is needs to be severely fixed, because like lawyers should be counsels. They shouldn't be get-out-of-jail-free cards. So if you have lots of money or no money, but you commit the same crime, you should be punished the same. Like, there shouldn't be this stupid divide based on money. So I always think that in a lot of these countries where the legal system has turned into this, the symbol shouldn't be a blindfolded person with a level. It should be a person holding a scale, but then on the other hand has lots of money, because if you have money, you can pretty much get away with anything. Rich people rarely go to jail, because, well, they can afford not to. In some cases they do, but a lot of times they don't. There was this one guy who would take, like, children on his airplane and have these really awful orgies with them, and he was caught, and he got, like, I think it was like 6 months in jail, and then that was it, and now he's still free to go, because he has money. It's like, if you have money, you can get away with anything. Now, of course, it's country to country. Some are better than others, some are worse. So, but it's just, it's kind of dumb, I think. What even is this? Oh, it's a nice little spiral. Ooh. But again, nothing is perfect. Nothing should be complacently seen as being the way it should be. Nowhere does it say that our current legal systems are the perfect way to do it, and they don't ever have to be changed. They can be changed whenever the hell we want. Even our governments, anything can be changed. Nothing says that the way we're doing it now is the best way to do it. So let's go to a different galaxy. My throat is really dry right now. My goodness. Now, do I have ideas for a better legal system? Not really. I haven't thought about it much. Beyond making it unbiased, I don't have much else to say. I will say, a lot of it is fine. Like the whole innocent until proven guilty, that is generally maintained throughout quite a few countries. However, in those situations, again, there are internal biases, depending on, like, how much money you have, or your ethnicity or whatever, and that's a whole different other can of worms that could be dealt with. I don't know. That's cultural at that point. The country has to fix itself culturally, but mostly the economic issues. Money should not dictate politics or like the legal system. It's like having money shouldn't automatically guarantee, or you shouldn't be able to use your money to buy politicians, or you shouldn't be able to use your money to buy your way out of prison. Actually, I think that prison shouldn't even be used for a lot of things. Prison should be used for dangerous people, or people who actually pose a risk to society. For example, if somebody murders somebody, you put them in prison. That makes perfect sense. If somebody, I don't know, shoplifts, they shouldn't go to prison. They should be dealt with a different way, but they shouldn't go to prison, because that just wastes money, and it also makes them more likely to become a hardened criminal, and then they do worse things. That's another opinion of mine anyways. It's like prison should be used to isolate people who are dangerous, but should not be used for people who are not dangerous. A shoplifter is not dangerous. A shoplifter is a petty crime, and they should be dealt with in different ways, but they should not be thrown in prison. A drug dealer, it's trickier. I don't think they should be in prison unless they, do things that are, well, it depends, honestly. Because some could say that, selling drugs can be harmful, but it depends on the drug, really. Like, marijuana really isn't that harmful. Just saying. Where something like crystal meth is most discernibly harmful. Wow, that's quite the atmosphere. What kind of life we have living on here? It's organic. But it lives in the ethane groups. Interesting. Well, I guess it's kind of like Titan. And there's a moon here. I need to find this moon that's casting that shadow. Oh, there it is. Found it. I don't know. I have my own opinions, but everyone's allowed to have their opinions. My opinions are probably, a lot of them are probably wrong, too. It's like, I'm not going to say mine are right or wrong. It's just what I feel. And I'm not going to get overly political. I just think that a lot of money and effort and people's lives could be saved by not abusing the legal system and using it for... Oop, that's the list down. For-profit prisons are awful. They're more common in the US than other places, but they are absolutely awful because they don't care about rehabilitation, they care about just making money. So they will frequently try to make people repeat offenders because it makes them money, and it actually damages society. The US is bad for that, but they've been kind of working on it recently. But yeah, it's like prisons should be used for people who are an actual threat, whereas other punishments should be used for people that fits the crime. Actually, I remember Robert Heinlein in Starship Troopers had this thing where all the crimes, depending on what it was, they were usually public lashings. I'm not saying that's a good thing. That most certainly is not. His description of it was quite interesting though, because the lashing itself wasn't the punishment. It was the social stigma that was the punishment, because it was embarrassing, and people don't like being embarrassed. That's a human thing. So if you shoplift, you get 3 lashes in a public square, and everyone watches, and it embarrasses you, and you don't want to ever do that ever again. And they basically had this. It was formatted in a class talking about the legal system, because Heinlein was like that. But it was interesting because basically it was they had very little crime because people were afraid of social stigma, and that was the main punishment. Whereas if you did if you murdered somebody or whatever, you got executed, which that's a whole other can of worms. Now, I'm not saying Heinlein's idea was right, because he was kind of a weird person, but the idea of social stigma is actually interesting. It's prevent the crimes by using social norms instead of making people worse off. How to do that? I don't know. I wouldn't say public lashings, because that's kind of brutal. But I don't know. Seriously, more people should read classic science fiction, because there's a lot of really interesting political and sociological messages in them. It's fascinating. 100% carbon dioxide. What the hell? That doesn't make sense. Wow. I guess it has some trace elements, but 100% carbon dioxide. Damn, that's a very thin atmosphere. That's a very thin envelope. It's kind of I guess someone could say Europa has a 100% oxygen atmosphere, because it has a very, very thin envelope of oxygen. But that's impressive. I haven't seen that before. It's a subglacial, unicellular, abiogenic. That's to be expected. That is to be expected. But yeah, I actually really appreciate Starship Troopers. It's such a great book. I love the book and the movie for different reasons. The book, I love it because it's political, and I like political science. And it's also just a really interesting story. I love the movie because the movie is political satire making fun of fascism, but like because like it shows how a fascist society can operate. But while you're watching it, the longer it goes, the symbolism, how it's formatted, and then just some of the little background things, you start realizing it's like I feel uncomfortable liking these people. It's like their government is this totalitarian regime, more or less, where they use people as expendable fodder to get information. It's like the invasion of Klendathu, where hundreds of thousands of soldiers died, was intentional because they just wanted to see, they wanted to test a theory, and people were expendable. And you're like, oh, that's uncomfortable. Or the little like propaganda news networks. You realize that they were completely one-sided, and one of the commentators made the comment where some say that the bugs were prompted to attacking because we invaded their territory, but then that was quickly brushed away, and it's all this one-sided, the bugs are bad, the bugs are bad, the bugs are bad, and all notions that perhaps the bugs are just defending themselves from us is, swept away. And it also has this thing where fascist ideology needs to have an enemy. It cannot operate without a singular enemy to rally the people, especially with fear. This is what the Nazis did, this is what Italy did, and this is what they did. They used the bugs as this scapegoat for everything, and it's actually quite interesting. And also, it's a fun science fiction military 90s movie. But again, I like political science, so it's great. They're thinking of making a remake that follows the book better, with like power armor and stuff, and I kind of hope they do, because that'd be cool. There was an anime in the 80s that was Starship Troopers that followed the book pretty good, and they had the power armor. Of course they did. It's fun. I love power armor. That's 21 minutes, and my throat is dry, so I think I'm going to call it there. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and space